So good morning, everyone. We are on day 4 of our recovery-friendly workplace resource training. Very excited to have 4 presenters with us today. Just a couple of, so to speak, housekeeping items. If you could make sure that you stay on mute unless you're speaking, because that really helps when people are presenting, so as not to distract others. So we appreciate that very much. We will have about 12 minutes with each presenter. We will have time for Q&A. However, during the presentation, any of them, you are welcome to put your questions in chat. We will get to them that way, or once all presentations are done, you can just either raise your hand or unmute and speak to your questions. So we welcome those questions. We do make an effort, depending on what we see coming through, to stop the recording towards the end, just so individuals who may not want to be recorded with their question can ask those questions in, so to speak, confidence. So I want to let you know that that's probably what will be happening based on how we've been doing that throughout the week. I'm Karen Morton-Clark. I'm going to be facilitating the conversation today. I am one of 4 recovery advisors for the Governor's Recovery Friendly Workplace Initiative, which is also administered by our great partners at Granite United Way. So with that, I'm going to get started, and we're going to start today with Jessica Stucker, who is the Clinical Director for Southeastern New Hampshire Services. So Jessica, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everybody. Like Karen said, my name is Jessica Stucker. I am the clinical director over at Southeastern New Hampshire Alcohol and Drug Services here in Dover. I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker, as well as a master's licensed alcohol and drug counselor. So a couple of our programs, sorry about that, they're doing construction at the jail. So just let me know if you guys can't hear me. I'll try to speak louder.
We don't hear it so far, so that's
all
good,
right,
Jessica.
perfect. Okay, so first up is our residential program. This is ASAM level 3.1, which is named Turning Point. It's our low intensity residential program. It is for adults 18 and up, both men and women are welcome at our program, who meet criteria for a 3.1. Most of our population and clients that come in have already completed a 28-day high-intensity program, but I know and understand the services available in the state of New Hampshire, so we're trying to bridge the gap between other levels of care and having people come in our program. So Turning Point's a structured, sober environment. The biggest thing about Turning Point is we're trying to help our population transition gradually, slow and steady, integrate back into the community while continuing to engage in their recovery and treatment here at the house. So the focus of the program is to facilitate recovery supports in the community, getting back to the integration, getting your benefits, getting your insurance turned back on, getting food stamps, applying for child support, anything like that, we can help in Turning Point. So just a couple of things that we offer. We say out back because our Turning Point is technically in the back of our agency. So out back, we offer individual and group psychotherapy. Our clients also need to attend self-help meetings. We have psychoeducational lectures. One of the biggest components of our Turning Point program is the clinical case management services. So we have Justin, our wonderful case manager on site, who helps create gaps or helps lessen the gaps between when people come in for treatment and when they integrate back into the community. So we have a relationship with the Dover Doorway in order to help admit and discharge as well. And we also plan for aftercare as well, where people are going. Obviously, we're getting more and more individuals throughout the state rather than just in Stratford County. So I think now more than ever how important it is that we help our clients transition to wherever they are going to go back to. Whether it's way up north, whether it's way out west in Keene, wherever, we will try our best. For next programs that we offer is we have 3 outpatient programs. And when I say outpatient level, ASAM level 1 through a 2.1. So first is one of our biggest programs, which is our drug court program. We, Southeastern has been partnering with Stratford County Superior Court for, oh my goodness, almost like 15 years now. So drug court is a substance misuse program. We offer both IOP once they transition out of either jail or coming off of the street. And then they gradually step down to an outpatient level of care. So we work in conjunction with the county's drug court team, which includes the judge, probation, parole, case managers, prosecution, and defense. So a little bit about the Southeastern's portion of the drug court program is our treatment is usually between 12 and 18 months. That's usually the set standard for drug courts nationally. So we have created a level-like program in which each participant needs to complete a certain number of groups, a certain number of individuals. They need to do certain recovery-related projects and create, honestly, a commitment to abstinence. At the end of it all, right? If we can't stay sober, then nothing else matters. So they also work, they can try to work, gain employment, and they also attend self-help meetings. So a little couple of things that we offer in drug court, individual and group psychotherapy. We do lectures. They have recovery related assignments. Oh yes, sorry, lost my place for a second. In attendance at self-help meetings as well. After drug court is our outpatient drug and alcohol counseling, level ASAM level number 1. Outpatient services that we include is individual psychotherapy, substance abuse evaluations. We also have impaired driver aftercare treatment for those individuals seeking to restore their driving privileges, and assessments with a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor. We have outpatient 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we try to work, actually, I take that back. We have a clinician who works until 7 or 8 p.m. So there is evening appointments available, which we know can be scarce. Everybody provides outpatient treatment. If we have a case in which someone cannot get into our Turning Point program, we have the availability to switch them to maybe a lower level of care, like an outpatient, in order to have a safety net for the client. So again, individual and psychotherapy, LADEC evaluations that are often court ordered, assessments, and DWI aftercare. So our last clinical, I know I'm trying to speak so fast. I'm trying to keep time. There's just so much stuff.
So, no worries, Jessica. Just be natural.
I appreciate it, Karen. So lastly, for outpatient is our impaired driver care management program, otherwise known as IDCMP. These are individuals convicted of driving under the influence and are required to attend and successfully complete a state-approved IDCMP program. So for right now, we offer a 2-hour intake and screening, a 2-hour substance use disorder evaluation. We have 2 Prime for Life, which is it's the 20-hour mandated course that the state requires that people in IDCMP need to complete. We have 2 teachers here that do it on the weekends, one via Zoom, one via in person. And again, we also have aftercare counseling with another clinician. So the other cool part that I stepped on board, I've only been clinical director for only about 6 months. So one of the biggest things was the opening of the Cane House last year. So the Cane House is not clinical at all. It is a substance-free community for men in recovery from substance use. So it is not technically a clinical facility. It is just our sober house that we manage. So there's 12 male-only beds. It's conveniently located in Dover. I love the fact it says conveniently. Nothing really in Dover is very convenient. So it's in Dover. It's actually above me right now. So it's in the same facility. It's just, they have their own entrance, their own exit. They kind of do their own thing. So the other huge advantage to that is if individuals want outpatient therapy, unfortunately someone relapses and they need a higher level of care, we're able to help facilitate that transition. Okay, so our intake process is actually pretty set. So we have an individual named Christina. She's absolutely wonderful. She will begin the intake process with the phone screen. So if just start to finish, someone calls, says that they are interested in outpatient, interested in Turning Point. They will talk to Christina. Christina will set up a phone screen, which usually provides us with health information, substance use history, insurance, date of birth, where they're living, and any employment. So once they complete the screen, it comes to myself. I approve it for the appropriate level of care. Once it's approved, it goes to either outpatient or Turning Point. I am purposely leaving drug court out of the screening process because that is through the probation parole. So we get it from Stratford County as opposed to individuals calling us, if that makes sense. So then after they place the screen, they get approved, they can start treatment. So outpatient, we have openings. Turning Point, I believe, has a small waiting list. Cane House is full, unfortunately, but fortunately, it's like a good, it's bittersweet. We've had a couple individuals up there since the beginning of it and have remained sober and pay their rent. And then, insurances, my favorite, everyone's favorite conversation for insurances. We pretty much take everything: Anthem, Medicaid, New Hampshire Healthy Families, AmeriHealth, Cigna, WellSense, which is now Carelon, Tufts, and we also take Medicare. We technically take Medicare, but that is usually funded through our BDAS grant. So individuals who can't seek care out in the community often come to us so we can assist them. And I think I covered everything, Ms. Karen.
That sounds great, Jessica. I appreciate all those details. And does anyone have any questions for Jessica before we go to the next presenter?
I love it.
Covered it pretty well,
Jessica.
One comment I will make is what I love about having this diverse group of treatment centers and presenters present this week is that different treatment centers may have a different focus. So you mentioned abstinence. If people are looking for that as their goal, they know that. Others will endorse all pathways to recovery, including the MAT and so forth. So I think that was a good distinction that you made, and it's good for people to realize that a different center may approach things differently, and one might not be a good fit for one, but it'll be the perfect fit for another one. So I appreciate you sharing all of that, Jessica. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Josh Caldwell. He's the Business Development Officer for Sobriety Centers of New Hampshire. So welcome, Josh, and you can take it away.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Recovery Friendly Workplace, for inviting me to be here today. I'm looking over here, but I'm actually seeing you because I'm putting my slides here. So I'm going to share the screen real quick. All right. Can everybody see the slides? All right. Awesome. All right. So, as Karen explained to you a couple minutes ago, my name is Josh Caldwell. I am the Business Development Officer of Sobriety Centers of New Hampshire. So, there we go. Slides are working. All right. So I'm Josh Caldwell. I am a CRSW, which is a certified recovery support worker in the state of New Hampshire. I'm also a family member in recovery, and I am a person in long-term recovery myself. And I am also the business development officer at Sobriety Centers of New Hampshire. So just a little bit about myself. When I coming into recovery, I received a lot of peer support, and I worked for a local recovery community organization in my area. Doing that, I ran their criminal justice program called Peer Strength for SOS Recovery Community Organization. And I also was a team member of the Stratford County Drug Court, which Jessica was just speaking about earlier. Yes. I was the peer support liaison for Stratford County Drug Court. I also ran a team. We were in 5 different drug courts throughout the state. So the criminal justice is my jam. Just wanted to throw that out there. Jessica, love that stuff. Yes, yes. But today I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about our program. So Sobriety Centers of New Hampshire is made up of multiple locations. One of our locations is called the Antrim House, and that is located in Antrim, New Hampshire. And at Antrim House, we offer an ASAM level 3.7, which is the medical monitored withdrawal management. You might know it as Detox. That's what people call it, right? So at Antrim House, we can detox benzos, alcohol, opiates, and we offer a safe environment for the clients. Antrim, New Hampshire, if you're not aware, is over by Keene. It's over like that side of the state. It's really nice. It's an old Victorian house, as you can see in the picture here. We also offer ASAM level 3.5, which is the high intensity residential treatment for adults. You might hear it called residential. So we offer both detox and residential levels of care at Antrim. And what we do here at Antrim is we offer evidence-based practices. We do a trauma-informed approach. We complete individualized treatment plans for all the clients. And then we have on-site medical staff, which includes 24/7 nursing. Another one of our locations, oh, I forgot that one. That's that's like the client's favorite part, is that we have chef prepared meals. If you know anything about treatment, one of the biggest things people talk about in treatment is like, oh, the food was really good, right? So that's one thing that we tell people about. And actually, like a lot of our reviews talk about the chef prepared meals. They're really good. I sometimes eat them too when I'm up there. That's why. And then we also have the Lakes Treatment Center, which is located in New Hampshire, Laconia, New Hampshire. It's actually right on Lake Winnisquam. That's our clinical building, our outpatient building. We do a PHP level of care, which is level ASAM rating level 2.5, partial hospitalization program. A lot of people call it PHP. We also do ASAM level 2.1, which is an intensive outpatient program, the IOP. And we also offer medicated assisted treatment or recovery at the Lakes Treatment Center. So we have a Suboxone clinic there as well. What I forgot to mention about Antrim is that we support all pathways of recovery there as well. So if somebody's coming on and say they're on, benzos, and they just want to detox off of alcohol, you don't have to detox off of everything through our detox program. You can stay on, prescription benzos and be able to detox off of the alcohol. We work with each client. Like I said, it's an individualized treatment plan with them. And then we also, you know, if people want to stay on MAT and MAR, they're, you know, we support them through that as well. We also take clients that are on methadone, and we don't have a cap for methadone. So unless they want to detox off of it, if they're looking to detox off of it, it's usually 30 milligrams or less. It's just because it's a really long detox, and it just, you can't get it done in the time frame that insurances will pay for, unfortunately, right? And so we do that at Lakes Treatment. Same thing, 2.5 level of care in a clinical setting at our clinical building. We have so we have 7-day PHP, we have 5-day IOP and 3-day IOP as well. Again, we work with the client on their plan, what they're looking to treat, you know. And then we have Recovery Mountain. Recovery Mountain is our newest facility. It's not a treatment center. It's in Tilton, New Hampshire, but it is our veteran and first responders wellness facility and housing. So this is specific for veterans and first responders. It is a 50,000 square foot facility up in Tilton, New Hampshire. The people, the clients that live at Recovery Mountain attend clinical at our Lakes Treatment Center in Laconia, the one I was just speaking about. They do get chef prepared meals there every single day. And there's a functional fitness gym, or it's a CrossFit gym, but we're not allowed to technically say that because, you know, you have to pay money to say you're a CrossFit gym. So we're a functional fitness gym there. All the bedrooms are semi-private. They're huge. The beds are queen size beds. Even the triple, we have one triple that is just a large room. They have their space. When we first opened up the facility, we were like, we want to do veterans, first responders, maybe a little bit of commercial, you know, insurances. But we found that the veterans, once we started putting people in the house, they kind of like just bonded. And we decided this is what we want to do, right? So it's just going to be veterans and first responders. And what's great is that, you know, a lot of them are very disciplined already. So you're not like, hey, you got to clean your room, or hey, you got to make your bed, because every morning they're already doing that. They work out together. It's just been really a positive, you know, just a positive community. And the one thing too is I'm not a veteran, so like a lot of times when I walk in there to talk, like they are busting my chops, right? They're like, what are you doing here, right? And that's another thing. So like a lot of veterans I've learned want to talk with other veterans, right? So it's really cool. They do that peer support with each other there, and it's just it's a phenomenal program. And there's also a full-size indoor soccer and lacrosse field. There as well, there's a half-court basketball. I mean, there's a lot more about it. And if anybody's interested in touring any of our facilities, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to have you come up, take a look. And then, so our treatment facilities are experienced in treating alcohol use disorders, benzo use disorders, opioid use disorders, which includes fentanyl, you know, heroin, you know, pain opioids, stimulant use disorders, so methamphetamine, cocaine. You know, a lot of people are struggling right now with, you know, what I'm seeing personally is a lot of alcohol use disorder and a lot of stimulant use disorder right now. And like, I'll save my other conversation for another day. If you want to talk harm reduction, also talk to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. So, you know, so the insurance, we are in network with most insurances. So we have, you know, Anthem, Aetna, Always, Optum, Beacon, Humana, United Behavioral Health, Tufts, Harvard Pilgrim, and we also are in the VA Community Care Network. So, and we also take New Hampshire Medicaid. So that's, we take both private and, state insurance. And our facility, so Antrim House is 24 beds. It's not a super big facility. It's pretty, it's homey. That's what a lot of people say about it. It's like a home feel, which is something that we're proud of. Yeah, and something that I'm personally proud of is that we're in network with a lot of these insurances. Because coming from an RCO background, a recovery community organizational background, like I was always on the other end of making phone calls and trying to get people, in the treatment and all that. And it was just, there was a lot of barriers. What I can say now though, is a lot of the treatment programs in the state are so like open to helping so many people. And it's so great to have the partners that I have in this community. Being on the business side of things, getting to know Jason, getting to know Andy, and people like that, right? Those are to be working beside people that have the same passion for helping people in recovery is pretty awesome. So just know that when you're listening to the presenters today, Jessica, I don't think we've ever met, but I'd love to meet you. I know Justin really well, and Justin is, as she was saying, is a great guy. So I would, anybody on this call, anybody that's viewing this call later on, I would highly recommend talking to anybody that's on this call, because I can tell you personally that I know the people that I have mentioned, and I know that they truly care. So just know that when you're trying to make a decision on trying to help somebody get into treatment, no matter who you call that's on this call, they're going to help you. So how do you get a hold of me though? Let me tell you about that. So this is my contact information here. My cell phone's there. If you're looking to, get somebody into treatment, you can give me a call on my cell phone. I always have it on me. You can ask my fiance. She's not always happy about it, but it is, and I understand self-care is also important. But my email's right there. You can reach me through email, my cell phone, and then I also put the website for sobriety centers on there. I put the locations for the Antrim House and Lakes treatment, and then there's the admissions line, which I will tell you that so all our admissions go through that. So we have an admissions team, and they do the admissions for all levels of care. So we offer from detox, residential, PHP, IOP, and outpatient as well. And it goes all through the same admissions line. So it's the one number. If you're looking for any of those levels of care, they can help you. And if you have any questions or anything, you can also, just call me directly, and I can help assist with whatever it is. And I think Karen had mentioned it earlier. We do, so the business development community, the outreach community, we do work with each other. So if we don't have a bed that's available, then I can help reach out to other treatment centers that may possibly have a bed, so just know that I have not met one person in this state that works in this field that will just shut you down if they don't have a bed. They're going to do what they can to help assist that. So know that as well. And I think that's all I got for that slideshow. So just, if you have any questions at all, feel free to hit me up. Super passionate about recovery, love recovery. I love multiple pathways of recovery. So like I said, if you want to call me and just talk to me about recovery, please do that as well. I would love to do that anytime. Again, Karen, thank you so much for having me today. And I am looking forward to hearing the other presentations.
Thank you so much, Josh. Always a pleasure to have you to connect with and to present. And I will say, I have toured Recovery Mountain. That facility alone is worth the tour. It's pretty amazing. Anyone have any questions for Josh specifically?
Karen, I have a quick question for Josh or anyone really probably might be able to answer this afterwards. I have a friend who has a sister that is homeless and living on the streets of Lawrence, Mass, and she's actively asking for help right now, but she's physically dependent on fentanyl. She has no insurance or anything like that. She's been out there for a long time. And yeah, we haven't, my friend hasn't been able to get her to the point of asking of like really, she's been in and out sometimes, but not for years to treatment. And now is there a process where you folks will work with someone who maybe isn't on Medicaid yet, or, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'll just say that I know that everybody, most everybody offers scholarships as well. So
Okay.
that's also if that's a huge barrier that can absolutely be discussed. Also, I know of some navigators that can help with getting insurances turned on and all that as well. So that no insurance should never be a barrier
Okay.
for treatment, period. And so and whatever I'm able to do, and I'll have the other presenters speak up as well, but like I know that I work with these people and they won't allow that to happen either, right? So
Right.
no insurance should not be an excuse for no treatment. If somebody's wanting treatment, we need to do everything we can to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I'll also add that the doorways navigate that as well. You know, it depends on where the person's going to be comfortable connecting to, of course, but that's just something I know they do pretty well.
And if she's down in Massachusetts, I know some programs that take Mass Health if she's to get on that. So just also know that if you're looking.
Okay.
And yeah, for sure. Let's
Thank
keep
you.
her alive. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty sick. It's, you know, her boyfriend just died out there, and you know, she's pretty scared at this point. So she is reaching out to family members a little bit, which is more than she's done in a long time. So
That's
Christy, if you want, give me a call afterwards. Seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
I can try to help you walk through it, you know.
Thank you so much.
Josh, you're going to send your slides to me so I can share them too, correct?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's
That'd
what
be
I was
great.
planning on.
Yeah, because your contact information is on those too, which is super helpful. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Christy. That's a great question, and hopefully that person will be able to be connected. Does anyone have any other questions specifically for Josh? All right, Josh, I've got 2 questions for you. I would like to know, you mentioned veterans and first responders. I believe, is it Dustin Ward that's with you now? And so he's, you know, definitely a peer for those veterans. Is there also someone who has the first responder background that is on staff there that those coming into treatment as a first responder would also be able to connect with?
So not yet. So the answer, we are actively hiring right now, and we are working on that piece. I have the first responder experience on the other side, like where
I gotcha. Yeah.
So no, but yeah. So nobody as of yet, but yes, we will. We are actively hiring, and we are going to be working on that piece.
That's awesome. And I'm pretty connected to some of the first responder communities. So obviously if I hear of anyone, I'm going to refer them to you. Because I think, you know, just like as you stated, I think it is important, you know, veterans want to talk to a veteran, et cetera. First responders want to talk to, you know, so this is all good. My last question is, well, my last question for now. You mentioned that you are able to treat methamphetamine. I'd like to know more about how you're doing that, because that's, from my understanding, one of the more challenging addictions to treat. And what would you say your success rate is with your methodology?
Yeah, so we to speak on our methodology, we're not 12-step based, but we're not 12 steps based. So we expose people to the 12 steps, but our education, I can't even think of the name. Curriculum, there we go. Our curriculum is not, is based on more cognitive approach. We have some spiritual aspects to it, but so with the methamphetamine, like they would coming to, so we offer full continuum of care. That's really important too. So when somebody comes in with stimulant use disorder, they don't technically detox right off of methamphetamine, though I am in recovery from methamphetamine myself, so I know that it is miserable. But you don't medically detox off of that. So they would go into a 3.5 level of care, right? And then from there, they would work with clinical case management, and they do groups. But what a lot of times when somebody has a stimulant use disorder, what we're trying to do is continuing that. So what we'll do is step them down to a 2.5, somewhere like, Andy works for Bonfire, right? So, and he'll tell you more about that program. And and then we also offer that at Lake. So if say somebody is with us and they want to stay for the full continuum, we help them do that, right? But if they're like, hey, this has been great, but we really want to go to this program and finish off our treatment there, our case managers will work with that individual and then reach out to other programs that they may be more interested in, because what it comes down to is the client, right? So whatever the client's needs and wants are, we're going to support that. And so when somebody has a stimulant use disorder, it takes longer. And so what you need is the recovery oriented system of care after treatment, right? So case management is setting them up with that. Case management is setting them up with maybe a recovery coach in their area. The case management is setting them up with the meetings that are in their area, whatever that may look like, right? And that's what they're doing. So we know that within maybe the 3 months that we have them, they're not going to be cured, right? So what we're then doing is we're trying to set them up for success. So we're with somebody, and it took me probably a good year before I started feeling normal, right? So I know that it takes time. So, and we know that it takes time. So it's just setting them up for success after that.
Yes, that's I so appreciate it, Josh. And I would think, I don't know, how, I assume you disclose to different individuals that you had lived experience with methamphetamine. And I would think that would be really helpful for people to hear from you, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, the length of time you just mentioned. I think that was probably super helpful to people, because from everything I've heard, it's one of the more challenging ones to, have people actually get to a point where they're not feeling that draw towards the drug anymore. So thank you for sharing that, Josh.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so with that, we're going to move on and have Andy Courier, who is an outreach treatment specialist. Andy, I have you under New Hampshire Detox and True Healing. So if you could explain a bit more about your affiliation there, that would help me and probably everyone on the call. So, and you're muted, just so you know. You're still muted. Can we unmute Andy if he's struggling with that?
How's that?
There you go.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate the opportunity to share our program. So True Healing is the brand. It's True Healing Addiction and Mental Health. And underneath that, we have 2 facilities, 2 programs in New Hampshire. One is New Hampshire Detox. That's in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. And that's ASAM 3.7 Detox, as well as the 3.5 residential. And some people might remember the site where the Friendship House was. So that's where our building is located. It's about 3 years old. And so we have our medical detox up there, as well as our residential. And like Josh mentioned, we have an amazing chef as well. So food is really important. A little bit about myself. I'm a person in recovery. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. About 80% of the referrals that I get monthly are client contacting me directly. So I'm also a trained recovery coach in New Hampshire as well. And I, like most of us in this field, are very passionate about getting people into treatment and getting them set up with the right things that they need. So I take pride in myself doing that. For example, if someone needs insurance, and like Josh mentioned, I get them connected with the right people to get insurance. I had an individual looking for a scholarship bed, but I said, finding a scholarship bed is great, but more importantly, they need insurance. So, but I get involved quite a bit. So back to New Hampshire Detox, there are a total of 36 beds up there. It's co-ed. It's MAT friendly, medically assisted treatment. We also have a full continuum of care. It's called Bonfire. So we are in network with Cigna, TRICARE, Harvard Pilgrim, Tufts, in all three Medicaid, WellSense, AmeriHealth, and New Hampshire Health Family. There are a total of 36 beds up at New Hampshire Detox in Bethlehem. 2 beds per room. There's a TV in every room. Also, our license is where we can fluctuate whether we need detox beds or residential beds. We provide transportation. I cover the Concord northern area, and we have 2 other individuals, Tim Reed, who covers the southern part of the state, along with Shari Woods. So I've been in outreach for about 5 years, a year and a half with True Healing. And again, we work with all the other organizations. With Josh and a number of the other organizations, we all work together to help people out, get them into treatment. That's, at the end of the day, that's everybody's motive. Whatever we need to do, there's a bunch of resources out there. I just tell people really simple. I help connect dots. I make connections with these people, and we get them to where they need to be. I talk to a lot of parents. They just discovered that their loved one is using. They have no idea how to navigate it. So I encourage the ER departments to call me, to pass my card 24/7. I don't care what time it is. I always have my phone on with me. So New Hampshire Detox up in Bethlehem, medical 3.7, and then our residential program, 36 beds. And it's in a beautiful spot. So this time of year, it's wonderful. There's a lot of walking trails. There's a lot of outside case managers. So when an individual comes into detox, then they're obviously encouraged to continue their care. So they work with case managers. Now, detoxing, it's really important that I clarify this. We're currently detoxing off of opiates only. We've had a difficult time getting nursing for be able to do 24-hour nursing for alcohol and benzos, because those are the dangerous ones to detox off of, almost through the training. So we're going to be up and running within weeks to do alcohol again and benzos again. So we'll be, I don't want to call it a full service, but we'll be able to provide assistance to those people in need that are struggling with those substances. And so once an individual completes detox, they can stay in the same building to complete residential program there. And then they would be encouraged, working with the case manager, to step down to Bonfire Behavioral Health, which is our 2.5 partial hospitalization program. It has a boarding component with that. So the center where they get their programming 7 days a week is in Rochester. It's located in the same building that the YMCA is, the Rochester YMCA. And then their boarding is in Dover. There are a total of 36 beds there. It's co-ed. There are 12 female beds and 24 male beds. And they are separated by floor. The housing is secure, locked. They are transported from Dover to Rochester 7 days a week from 9 to 3. The There's 15-minute breaks between groups. There's a 45-minute lunch, and there's areas to go outside and hang out at the center. So again, we provide transportation. We're working with all the doorways. I work with a number of different organizations. I call them entry points. So at the end of the day, I'm just looking to get someone into treatment, whether it's with us or somebody else. That's pretty much it. You know, I went over the insurances, our admissions process. So we have Kevin and Devin that are in Rochester at our admissions office. So generally the process, I explained to people what the process is. We have an 800 number that they can call into if they need to, but in most cases, I get contacted and I'll submit a referral through email. Our email is nhreferral@truehealingcenters.com, and the admissions team receives a communication regarding someone interested in treatment. Then, so when I send in a referral, I'm talking to the individual, in most cases looking for help. So I explained to them that they'd be getting a call. They do a pre-admission assessment to determine the level of care. And if for some reason they don't qualify for our programs and it gets kicked back to me, I'll contact the individual, and then I get on the phone and start calling guys like Josh and Jason or whomever. I usually deal with Andrew at Sobriety Centers, but get them a place. So at that point, I capture that individual. I know timing is important, and we get them to where they need to go. So that's how that works. So if someone doesn't meet our level of care, or we're unable to provide a service to them, then I continue to do everything that I can to get that individual into treatment. I think we all do the same thing too. So yeah, 2 facilities. Up in Bethlehem, it's beautiful up there. Like I said, it's a brand new building. That we have a on-site chef. The place is very, very clean. I bring a lot of people up there and tour. So if there's anybody interested, I know it's a little bit of a ride to get up there, but it's beautiful this time of year. So we welcome that. So based on, there's different modalities, evidence-based modalities in terms of treatment. There's 12 steps, there's smart recovery. I think the important thing is and everybody will say the same thing, that, you know, it's all individually based, right? When you have an individual, we really need to dig into, you know, this is where my trained recovery coach comes in. You know, where have they been to treatment? What have they done in the past? You know, what are we going to do different this time? What's available out there for resources? I think that's huge. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's about having some success, right? When I said, you know, some RCO, and I got a call from Kelsey over there, and I ended up getting that individual connected to a navigator to get insurance, because, you know, unfortunately for me, I didn't get it my first time going to treatment. I've been to a number of different treatments. So if I was just trying to find a scholarship bed, then you know, we're not doing that person any justice. I mean, at the end of the day, they need insurance, but they still need to get treatment. So, and it's just about connecting dots, knowing what's out there for resources, reaching out to people, and getting that person into treatment wherever it is. And I'll do a little plug for Recovery Mountain. When I worked for the Riverbank, we used to go up there and use the batting cage. That's an amazing, amazing facility up there. So if you haven't checked that out, everybody should take the opportunity to do so.
Andy, thank you so
That's
much.
basically all I have. I went over our insurance, our admissions. Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. And you know, the clinical questions, if I get any, you know, I'm not a clinician, so what I would do is pass it along to get the information, get you the answer, and provide that right away. I owned a business, so I get things done. I pride myself in taking care of business. So, and these helping save lives, right? So I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Andy. And also, if anyone does have any questions following this presentation, and I have one that was sent in advance that I'm going to want to share as soon as Jason is done. But you can certainly email me and I can, connect you to the presenters too. That's just another way to go about it if you're comfortable doing that, because we do welcome your questions. And so with that, Jason, I want to give you a chance to conclude our presentations today, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Karen. So my name is Jason Pena. I represent Avenues in New England. So we have the 2 facilities out there in New Hampshire, 13 facilities across the country. So I'll kind of make this a little bit quicker just to save some questions for the end. So we have our first facility in Dublin. We've had that facility since May of 2022, and it is on-site medical detox and residential. So we detox from any substance, whether it's opiates, benzos, alcohol, whatever the case is. If somebody needs detox, we're able to detox them there. So detox typically with us is about 7 to 10 days. Given the substance, sometimes it could be extended. I mean, we've had people who need a detox for 2 or 3 weeks, so we have no problem, keeping somebody in detox as long as they need to, until they start feeling better. And after detox, we have our residential portion of the program, which typically we keep people for about 60 days, depending on their willingness. Obviously, some people may not have, 60 days of their life to take off. We encourage it, but we will take people with a 30-day commitment. And who we take at our program, insurance-wise, I mean, there's not insurance that, we don't take. We're a network with all forms of New Hampshire Medicaid. Most, commercial insurances we're a network with as well. And like we were saying earlier, if we have a client that we can't take their insurance or they're not a good fit for our program, whatever the case is, we have, strong community partnerships. Specifically Josh, he's usually my first call. Anything I have that we can't take, that may not be appropriate for us, or, if we don't have a bed, it's pretty easy to get somebody in up here. And, that's probably the best thing I would say working, in New Hampshire with all these other facilities. There's not a sense of, competitiveness, or, we don't believe in a wait list. I know most places don't as well. So if we have, somebody where we can get them in, we will always try to, refer them out before we put anybody on a wait list. And so the capacity of our facility, we're a 49-bed program. We're staffed 24/7, medical staff, nurses, BHTs, 24/7 clinical staff, during the day. And our treatment plan, we don't have a specific, one track of 12-step or, CBT or whatever. Whatever somebody wants to do when they come in, they say what they might be comfortable with, what didn't work in the past, what may have worked in the past. We try to help them, meet them where they're at, and whatever they want to do recovery wise, we encourage them to do it and, help them succeed. So if somebody may have had a bad experience with the 12 steps before, or may have had, a good experience with them, we'll help them achieve that. We won't force, one thing down somebody's throat to make them do. We don't do that. And then once somebody's been there for a little bit, we start to have the aftercare conversation. So we have a team of aftercare coordinators and case managers that, from the client's first week there, they're brainstorming where, the best fit for them would be. And part of what I do as well is I go out to other programs, see, what their programs are like, and then I can meet with the client and present them, some aftercare options to kind of continue their treatment, so they're not just going home after 60 days. And for the clients who do go home, we do have alumni follow-up. So once a week for the first 60 days they're discharged, once a week they're getting, check-in phone calls, seeing how they're doing. If they need to talk, they can call. I give them my cell phone number when they leave. They can call me at any time. But just so they have, something in place, if they have a weak moment or they're struggling, they know they can pick up the phone and call somebody who they already know, who they're comfortable with. So that's, one of the best parts is seeing them leave and then, getting a phone call from them like, hey, I'm doing good, or even, hey, I'm not doing so good. I need someone to talk to, and just, being there for them. It's definitely makes a difference. So that's our program in Dublin. And then we have an aftercare program in Concord. It's more of an extended model, extended care. Typically, that this program may not be for everybody. It's a 6 to 9 month extended care model. Typically, we see more of a younger clientele at this program, typically clients 20s or 30s. We do take everybody 18 or older, but in this specific program, we do see more of a younger crowd. So what we do in Concord, it's a 3-phase program. The first phase is PHP, then IOP5, and then IOP3. So the first phase of the program, they live separately in structured sober living that staffs 24/7. And they go to our clinical facility 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is the first phase. In that phase, they can't have their cell phones. They have very limited contact to the outside world. And then throughout their stay there, they kind of get more freedoms back as they progress. So like the first phase, you can't work. But we help them, we have the conversation. What do you want to do when you get to the next phase? Do you want to work? Do you want to go to school? What do you want to do with your life? Pretty much we have a strong focus on life building skills. So that's what we do in phase 1 is kind of brainstorm, what's next. Phase 2, we help, build resumes, job search. By phase 2, it's required to be working to get to phase 3. And then phase 3, typically our clients in phase 3 are working full-time or part-time. They come to the clinical facility about 3 times a week. They're still living in one of our sober living homes. And at that point, typically they have about 6 months, 7 months sobriety time. And the cool part about that too, what we see a lot of the time, the clients in phase 3, come by the phase 1 house, they're meeting with the clients there, telling them what it was like when they were, in phase 1, helping them kind of, anybody struggling, they help them. So it's cool to see like peer-based recovery, because I'm 8 years sober, or 7 years sober. It may not, be the same talking to somebody who's, a week sober may not relate to the same as, say, somebody who was just there a few months ago. They can relate to them much better. So that's great to see. And then, so what the curriculum we have in Concord, it's very similar to Dublin. It's not, one size fits all. It's not just 12-step. It's not just, CBT or DBT. We have a mixture of whatever they want to do. One thing that is required in Dublin, they do go to, in phase 1, they go to 12-step meetings every night. So typically we do see, we encourage people to get sponsors there. The 12 steps aren't, forced, but they are encouraged. And yeah, I mean, that's what phase 1 is like. And the clients that we typically can't take in that program, somebody with acute mental health, schizophrenia, anybody on Suboxone or methadone, we also cannot accept there. So that's again where, strong partnerships in the community come in, because that program may not take as many people as another program can, so we can, get that individual connected. So I'll save some time for questions. I don't want to go too long. But yeah, again, I appreciate you guys having me. It was, great to hear everybody else present. Yeah, thank you so much.
That's awesome, Jason. Thank you so much. And I know we have some folks on here. It is just 3 minutes after the noon hour, but we welcome you to stay for a few minutes. There was an advanced question that I'm going to pose to all presenters, and I do want this on recording. And the question is this: do you have access to level of care assessments conducted in the prison? And if so, do you consider them when assessing people who enter your program after they are released from prison?
If I can start, yes, short answer is yes. We try to facilitate, either from the jail or from the prison. Weirdly enough, we actually have a potential client who's coming from a different prison in a different state, but his charges are here. So I feel like we're seeing more of that. So at least with Turning Point and with outpatient, I would say we do. Southeastern at least does.
Thank you, Jessica.
Of course.
And so as I said at the beginning, criminal justice system is my jam. Yeah, so absolutely. We take you know, residents from the jail, from prison. We work, we've built relationships with the case managers inside the walls. And yeah, we try to work with the public defender's office. We work with private attorneys as well, and just trying to, because I think we all can agree that treatment is better than jail, right? So being able to build those bridges for the people that are presently incarcerated, getting them in out of that environment, especially if they're in there for a drug charge or, you know, a nonviolent charge that's drug related, to be able to get them into a treatment, you know, facility, and just being able to build those bridges to make that happen.
Great, Josh. Thank you. And Andy or Jason?
Yeah, we work with a lot of the jails. We actually have a system set up with a few different county jails where they can just fax in a referral with just the information, and then they leave a callback number to call them when we're available for a phone screen. So we have a pretty streamlined system with most of the jails in New Hampshire.
Perfect. Thank you. Andy, I think you were trying to say something,
Yeah.
but we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, I work with again, I cover Concord North, so I have a relationship with the case managers and the state prison, as well as the counties, Grafton County, Belknap County, Coos County, in Merrimack County, and also with the probation and parole officers. So I think that's a big relationship that's important, because if someone comes into our facility and they happen to AMA, you know, against medical, they leave and they're on probation, then the communication is really key. So I have well-established relationships with every one of my probation officers. I visit them frequently, and I do some other stuff that if they need some assistance getting some info. Yeah, so that's all real important. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Sounds unanimous.
Yeah,
So
and it's really easy. So I make they make arrangements to call to do a pre-admission assessment. It's all, again, I connect all the dots. So it's simple. It's a process.
Awesome.
It's easy.
Perfect. Thank you, Andy. Christy, I'm going to have you stop recording now. We're ending the official portion of our training